Visualization works, but most people accidentally use it in a way that creates escape instead of momentum. So let's fix that. This episode is about dreaming, but grounded dreaming. Not fantasy spirals, not checking out of your life, and not looping the same movie in your head all day. Used well, imagination is a tool. Used poorly, it becomes avoidance. And that difference matters because your brain responds to imagined experience in measurable ways. Brain imaging studies show that mental rehearsal activates many of the same neural pathways as physical practice. That's why athletes actually use visualization, because it improves performance and readiness. But there is a catch. Okay, mental rehearsal helps when it leads to action, and it can actually hurt when it replaces action. A lot of people daydream in a way that feels good, but leaves them less motivated afterward. You've probably actually already felt this. You imagine the perfect future scenario, whether it's the success, the recognition, the relationship, the breakthrough moment. It feels great, and then right after, your current reality actually kind of feels flatter. Motivation drops. There's research behind this too. Studies on positive fantasy show that overly detailed outcome fantasizing can actually reduce follow-through because the brain partially registers the reward as already experienced. In simple terms, if you emotionally consume the reward in advance, you reduce the drive to actually build it. I'm going to repeat that because it's actually very important. If you emotionally consume the reward in advance, you will reduce the drive to build it. Again, too much outcome fantasy can quietly replace effort instead of fueling it. So the goal isn't to stop dreaming, it's to change how you dream. Okay, so there's two types of visualization. There's outcome visualization, which is like seeing the final scene, and then there's process visualization, which is seeing yourself doing the work. Outcome-only visualization creates emotional sugar highs. Process visualization, on the other hand, builds behavioral readiness. So top performers, for example, tend to visualize the process more than the podium. This includes the training, the reps, the conversations, the steps, everything that it takes to get there. That's the usable form of visualization. So instead of imagining everyone applauding you, you can imagine yourself preparing calmly, yourself showing up steady, yourself executing clearly. That difference is subtle, but actually pretty powerful. One feeds your ego, where the other feeds your capacity. Okay, let's make this practical. If you're going to daydream, give it structure. Short, intentional, grounded. Not 45 minutes of just mindless drifting, more like 2 to 3 minutes of directed mental rehearsal. There's cognitive research showing shorter, repeated visualization sessions outperform long, immersive ones for behavior change. So, think brief, clear, repeatable, not cinematic, but functional visualization. Here's a simple structure you can use. Visualize 3 things. The start, which is how you begin something, whether it's a job or relationship, what have you. Then visualize the middle, which is you staying steady in that job, relationship, what have you. Then visualize the adjustment, which is how you recover or become flexible at different points in that experience. The third one matters the most because confidence doesn't come from seeing perfection. It comes from seeing yourself recover or adapt to a scenario. I'm going to repeat that. Confidence doesn't come from seeing perfection or the idealized version of something. It comes from seeing yourself recover and adapt to the thing that you want. Again, when you can picture yourself adapting, you stop fearing imperfection. That's what builds psychological flexibility, essentially giving your visualizations more complexity, more color. There's another piece in here that people tend to miss, which is emotions matter more than imagery detail. You don't need some ultra HD kind of movie playing in your head. What matters is the emotional tone. So calm readiness, grounded focus, quiet certainty. Performance psychology calls this state-dependent priming. When you rehearse the emotional state, you access it faster later. So instead of asking, can I see it clearly? Ask, can I feel steady while imagining it? That's the real lever. Let's talk about music too, because people often mention music as an aid for visualization, and that's actually supported by research. Music strongly influences emotional state and mental imagery vividness. Music acts as a regulator for attention and mood. Used well, it can deepen your rehearsal. Used poorly, it can push you into pure fantasy escape. The difference is intention. If the music session ends with, now I act, well, that's useful. If the music session ends with, now I scroll, well, that was just escape. Pair the dream with a step, always. Here's a simple rule. Every visualization session should end with a physical action. Send the message, write the paragraph, outline the idea, practice the skill. Anchor imagination to motion. That will prevent drift. Another analogy that I like to use is visualization is like revving an engine. If the car is in gear, you move. If it's in neutral, you just make noise. A lot of people are emotionally revving in neutral. The energy is there, but there's no traction, there's nothing to show for it, there's no momentum or movement. And here's how you can put it in gear with one step. Let me give you a quick 3-minute daily drill. For the first minute, see yourself doing whatever it is that you want well. For the second minute, see yourself staying steady in that thing or in that experience. In the third minute, see yourself adjusting to it calmly. Then hop into immediate action. Small action is fine. Symbolic action is fine. Just do something. That is the essential requirement to close off your session. I'm going to repeat the core guardrail for this episode. Dream, but connect the dream to behavior. Again, if imagination doesn't lead to action, it just turns into escape. If it leads to action, it becomes rehearsal. That's the dividing line. Okay, quick recap. Use visualization, but keep it short, process-focused, emotionally grounded, and action-linked. You need to see the work. You need to feel the steadiness. Take one step. That's how dreaming becomes the fuel instead of a distraction. This episode is part of a full step-by-step series. Each one builds on the last, so watch the rest in order if you want the full method instead of scattered pieces. And if you want to support the channel and see more videos like this, subscribing always helps. All right, take care.